Good morning. Welcome to Morning Brew with your girl, Germaine. Yes, thank God it's another morning that we have the opportunity of being able to come to the community and share, and hopefully those can stop by for coffee with me today. And so we'll take a few moments as I am muting my phone so there's no interruptions and as people are chiming in. So I hope everyone's having a wonderful start of their day. Some places it might be night, but here where we're located, it is 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, maybe 10:32. But thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule. If you decide you want to join me for coffee today, and maybe it's tea you're drinking or something else, smoothies, whatever it is you're drinking, you're more than welcome to chime in for your dose of or your shot of inspiration. You know, today's brew is going to be Ideas Need Air. So, welcome, Big Mike Sachs. Mike, we got to connect. It's been too many years. Thank you for chiming in on Instagram. So, today in today's Coffee Brew for Morning Brew with Germaine, we're going to be talking about ideas need air. I know there's so many people out there that have ideas floating around and you just don't know what to do with them. Or you may be in a position that you're pivoting right now and you are in between. Maybe your job has come to an end, you've been let go because a lot of that is happening right now. But you have all these skills and abilities, but what do I do with them? So this might be a great message for you today, a great coffee break for you today, just to get some ideas to see how you can take all those skills that you have, the ideas that you have, and be able to pivot and shift into a place that can now start hopefully paying you to supplement the income that you may have lost. Or maybe you have some ideas that you've just been really sitting on because you've been too afraid to speak them out loud or share them with others. I don't know. I don't know what it may be, but if any of those things align with you, then you might want to stop by for a quick coffee break with Morning Brew. So, with that being said, let me get into today's brew. Ideas need air because I don't want to hold you long, okay? So, the one thing I want you to keep in mind, don't let your brilliance suffocate in silence. Yes, you're brilliant. Remember that. you know? And the thing is, you are sitting on some ideas that could be life changing. But for whatever reason, you may not know how to verbalize it, speak it out, to even hear the ideas yourself. You may just be holding them close to you, because you don't want anybody else to take the idea, steal the idea, move forward with your idea. Because, a lot that happens a lot, right? People profit off of your great ideas. So, but don't let your brilliance suffocate in silence. So, your ideas were never meant to live and die in the Notes app on your device. Today we got an idea pops in our head. It's like, you know what? Let me put it in my notes so I don't forget it because I need to revisit that again, right? Give me a sec. Let me grab my coffee. And so, with that, don't let your great ideas die in the note apps or in the journals. If you're one like me, also, I love to use journals to take notes because I like to tangibly pick it up, go back to it years later to see what are some of the things that I actually thought about and now I'm living in it. And one of the things is me sitting on this podcast platform right now talking to you. That was one of the things that was an idea that I kept running from. Yep, I did. I kept running from it because I was always in the background, never wanted to be in the forefront. But here we are, sitting in the forefront Monday through Fridays, speaking in the community, right? So I am having fun. So good morning to a few people. Good morning, Leslie over on YouTube. Good morning, Jesse Moss 92775, my sister out in Sacramento. Good morning, and thank you for chiming in as we are just sharing that ideas need air. Okay, so like I said, your ideas were never meant to live and die in your notes app. on your phone, your device, or in the journal pages that you've been taking for years. Don't let them die there. We often overthink or underestimate our ideas, but until we are able to speak them, test them, and let them breathe, we'll never know the impact they could carry. So, hear those three things I just said. If you are one that's suffocating your ideas right now in silence and you don't want nobody to know about it, you're too afraid to put it out there because you don't know if it's good enough or anything, the only way you're ever going to find out is you have to test it. So start speaking it out loud, even if it's just you speaking to you. At least you're putting it out in the atmosphere so you can hear it. So start speaking your ideas out loud. And then in some cases, you might have an opportunity, you can test them out just to see how people may respond to them. Okay. And it doesn't have to be on a grand scale. Start small. Start small. But you'll give them an opportunity to breathe. Let the ideas breathe. See if it can turn something for you, if it can make an impact, okay? If it can be life changing for you. Brilliance thrives in the open, not buried under self doubt or perfectionism. So if you struggle with self doubt, like, it's not good enough. No, nobody wants to hear it. I hear this all the time in my business, right? Nobody wants to hear my story. People are dealing with their own stories, right? I don't think this idea is gonna work. There's already somebody out there with this idea. It's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. That was me. It's not ready. I don't have everything in alignment. Everything's not lined up to be able to make an official launch of it. You know, don't do that to yourself, because if you are like me, you will be waiting for years before you say, what is the holdup? Let me just take the first step. All right. In doing that, look, I'm sitting here and it's been May 16th, and somebody had to remind me, Germaine, you've been doing this consistently since May 16th. So May, June, July, August, September. Oh my gosh, we are in October and I am almost to the 16. Look, I'm almost at the 6-month point, which would be in 2 days. We get so caught up, we don't even take time to just look at the small accomplishments that we've made. I am almost 6 months in. Yes, I'm celebrating right now because it just hit me. I'm almost 6 months in. You guys, I don't think you understand. I just got really excited because with me just thinking about 6 months, I've made a commitment to myself to be consistent every day, to show up. And I am 6 months in. Yes, I'm celebrating myself. If y'all want to join in the celebration, just let me know, right? But yes, I'm celebrating because for me, you have no idea. That is a huge accomplishment that we are almost 6 months in of coming on live 5 days a week. And people are like, girl, how are you doing that 5 days a week? How are you finding the time? The one thing I realized, preparation, being prepared, in advance, it makes the difference. Having a team that can help, it definitely makes a difference. So, Leslie, you say, let me put this up on the screen. Hold on one second. I want to share, in the conversation. Let's share. Let's talk about it. So, Leslie says, 2 things can be true at the same time. People do have their own stories, but that doesn't take anything about your story. Absolutely. It doesn't take anything away about your story. That is so true. That is so true. So we got to program our minds. I think a lot of times we deal with programming that is old programming, or is programming that mentally cripples us. And so sometimes we have to cancel out old program and we have to reboot and we have to restart our systems to start thinking new under the new program, right? And so every so often, just like with your modem and everything, I always encourage people, with your modem, you got to unplug at least 30 days. let not for 30 days, every 30 days, unplug your modem, let it reboot so it can refresh itself. Because what happens, that thing called the cache, how your computer will automatically go and pull something in its memory, and it would stay stuck on that. So with that, same thing with us. You have to unplug, you have to reboot so you can be restart fresh and new, and you're not reverting back to the old ways of things that are non-effective for you right now. Right? So keep that in mind. So also want to share, yes, congratulations on your 6-month anniversary. Yes, I am. The funny thing is, I didn't even think about it until this message. Good morning, Miss Diva Daz. Good morning, doll. Um, Thank you for just stopping by to say hello. I appreciate you so much. So, yes, publicist extraordinaire, Miss Diva Daz over on Instagram. Absolutely. And she is a partner in Hope of Vision Publishing, the family. And so thank you for stopping by and showing your love. So, with that, I want to say we have to take moments in our days in life and just reflect back on those things that we have accomplished. Life is moving so fast. The ideas, listen, the topic, the morning brew is ideas need air. The problem is sometimes is we're constantly moving at high speeds. We don't take a moment to see how our ideas have even manifested in the world, how they're landing on others. This is an idea. I am right now sitting in an idea. Morning Brew with Germaine was an idea years ago. And you know what? A part of me says, man, I wish I had started when people were first talking about podcasts, because my publishing company, the premise for Morning Brew is really to allow us to build community and share our stories. And as a publisher, this is an extension of that, being able to give back to those in the community, those that are part of the HOV Publishing or the Hope of Vision Publishing family, giving them a platform to be able to share their stories, connect with the community abroad. And that's really one of the purposes, one of the ideas that came out of HOV Publishing that is almost 18 years old. And it's been built off of all of you through referrals. So I'm sitting in an idea right now. Morning Brew with Germaine. Yes, it is an idea that started years ago. And I was too afraid when podcasts first started. I was too afraid to lend my voice. I was too afraid to sit in front of a camera. I was too afraid to even, I was suffocating my idea. That's what I was doing. The very thing I said, do not let your brilliance suffocate in silence. That's exactly what I was doing for years, because I was what? Fearful? I was more concerned about the opinions of others. All those things that we deal with. Come on, we deal with it. We do. It's real. and at the end of the day, you just have to make a decision. When I realized Hope of Vision wasn't something that I just came up with. Hope of Vision was God given. I'll never forget when I relocated to Albany, Georgia. I would just have these morning walks with God. Yes, me and God just talking on these morning walks in the neighborhood where my grandmother lived. And so he literally just gave me vision on those walks. And he dropped Hope of Vision in my spirit, and it became my assignment. And so I can't take credit that Hope of Vision Publishing was something that one day I woke up with and say, oh, I'm doing it. I'm going to go and I'm just going to help people put their stories in the marketplace. It was God ordained. It is part of my assignment, and it is so much bigger than me. It's hope. People need hope in their life. People need to know that things are going to be okay in their present situations, in their family situations, in life in general. People need a sense of hope, and then being able to put actions to that hope. So a part of my assignment of what he gave me is giving people the encouragement and giving them to know that Yes, hope. Hope is so real. It's so real. I know it is for me. And people that are connected with me, some of the feedback, it's amazing because I believe God names a thing and you become that. So Hope of Vision is a name that God had gave me. And what's so amazing about it is when people give it back to me. And in the form of Germaine, you make me feel like I know you run a business, but you make me feel like I am the only one that you're focused on. You give me so much hope and encouragement. I never saw my vision as big as you have presented it to me based off of just our conversations. Oh my gosh, some things it's like, okay, God, I see. Now I'm really getting a full understanding that you name a thing and then you become. So I am in my season of walking in my journey of becoming. And yes, hope is so evident and is so a part of my journey and who I am and what I try to give back to the world, to the community, to people through their storytelling. And so it's so life. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that he gave me my life. I'm grateful that my life is mine to be able to go on this journey and to discover so much more that's in store. And the great thing is, I don't want to do this by myself. That's why I'm so grateful to those that chime in, that join in, that connect with me, that's a part of my journey. My story, Hope of Vision, could not be what it is today if it was not for all those other stories that have come in and been a part of it. Leslie, it makes me think about even your brand of mosaic. When you think about mosaic, and as you begin to express that to me, all the colors and stuff and how they reflect off each other, I understand why mosaic is so you. Is so you, you know? And so I am grateful because we can't walk through this life all alone. It's not destined for us to do that. It's not purpose for us to do that. So, thank you all for chiming in. The one thing I always look for, and remember, we're still talking about ideas, and ideas need air, and ideas need to be spoken, and ideas need to be tested, and ideas need to breathe. So, this message is still all a part of ideas. I'm just sharing clips of my story, my journey through this platform, Morning Brew with Germaine. So I want to be able to, well, let's start getting into this segment that we always do where we pour into purpose, right? We take a moment and we're going to pour into purpose. And with that, let's look at how we can allow our ideas to have air, right? So say it out loud. Give it breath. Yes, say your idea out loud. Do you have an idea you're sitting on right now? This is something for you to think about. You don't have to put it in the community. This is for you. But do you have an idea right now you're thinking about? I know I do. And it's not just one, it's several ideas. Several ideas right now that I have that's brewing right now that I am looking at and seeing how okay we need to test them. And even creating this platform, this is a great launching pad. This is a great platform to really seek out you know information from you, from those in the community, and your thoughts on what you think about as we're testing. So, and I'm saying that because find those people that you trust, and even those that will challenge you and challenge your ideas as you're testing them to see, hey, what's your thoughts? Hey, let's talk about this. Where do you see this going? Ask questions to those that you're presenting this to. So right now, just a few things that are coming up. For those that have been with me since the beginning, you see over 6 months, it's amazing how things are just growing and being able to one understanding what your why is, what is your why for why you're doing this, but also understanding how can others benefit from it. And so my whole platform is driven for that, you know? And like I said, being a publisher, helping those publish their stories, my mind is always thinking about ideas. How can we take it to the masses? How can we give them a space and a platform that their stories can grow for others to be able to tap into it? The one great thing is when you publish a book, it will be here longer than you. Yes, it can. And it could be something passed down to your family members, as part of their inheritance. So um, it's a product. It's a tangible item that can be placed in multiple formats, but it can be forever. So, what is your story? What is your story, and how do you want it to show up in the world? Right? Okay. So let's say it out loud and let's give it birth. If it came to you, it's worth exploring. If it dropped in your spirit, if it was an idea, if it's something that keeps nagging at you and it will not go away, stop running from it. Don't run from it. Trust me, it doesn't work out, because the thing is, all you're doing is delaying time. That's it. You're delaying the time. My thing is, start exploring it. That thing that keeps coming for you. Yes, it's coming for you. Take a pause, pay attention, and start exploring. Why? What is this thing? What am I supposed to do with this? The other thing is, speaking it helps to clarify what you're truly passionate about. That's why don't sit in silence with your ideas. Speak them out loud. What I do at the end of every year, I'd start reflecting over that year. And that's why I like using journals. I use journals and I use the notes in my apps, right? But I like journals because I can literally go back through my library of journals as far back as years, for years. And what is so amazing is when I journey back at the end of every year, I do this because I want to see my progress. I want to see how this journey, how far along my journey I've come for ideas that I may have had 20 plus years ago. And what's so incredible, and I find myself, I get so emotional sometime when I do this, is because I see my accomplishments. And a lot of times we get so caught up in life. We get so caught up in life that we don't see what we've accomplished, and we get stuck with what's right in front of us, and we rob ourselves of our rich history of what we've really accomplished. So this is what I do. I don't know. It may work for you. You may have another method of what you use to really be able to reflect over to see truly what your accomplishments are. But when I think about it, my ideas, I see how my ideas they've been birthed, and they are now helping others to birth their own ideas. Henceforth, Hope of Vision Publishing, like I said, I'm going into my 18th year with that. And it all started when I was in the entertainment music industry. It all started that I'm real observant. So when I'm in spaces, just so you know, this is still part of my story as I'm sharing this morning brew. But when I'm in spaces, for me, I always use those spaces as education. Places whereas I may never gain access into those spaces again. But when I do, and I've been in a lot of places, in a lot of spaces, I find myself like a sponge. I start soaking things up. I start asking questions. Um, I feel like I become like a computer, maybe like AI. Let me take all this information in, right? So I can store it. And then when I need it, I can go to that file cabinet and pull it out, right? But I try not to waste any time, any opportunities when I gain access into places that most people may never gain access into. And so, but when I think about it, even when I started when I started HOV, when I started the publishing company, I started from a research standpoint. Like I stated, I was in the music industry, and I don't know, I always gravitated to the publishing side of things because the publishing deals with words. The publishing deals with people's stories, so that's one side of it. But then there's a business side of it as well. So I've always gravitated to people's stories. I didn't know it would become a part of my assignment in life, helping to birth other stories into the universe. I didn't know that at the time. But what I did, I began to research, I began to ask questions. And what's so interesting, I'm in the music industry working with artists, managing artists, trying to understand the lay of the land and how this business of music works because you want to be knowledgeable in the space you're in. And so I took it upon myself. Okay, publishing was like calling me, music publishing was calling me. And so I started looking into literary publishing and I did my research. And literally, I had 10 years worth of research and binders. I'll never forget in my mom's attic, 10 years on literary publishing before I started my own publishing company, my own imprint. And so the thing is, you have to determine what phase in your life are you in? Are you in that phase where you're now being opened up to access opportunities and stuff? Are you in the research phase? Are you in the execution phase of your life? You know, are you in the phase where it's now you're helping to pour into others so they can birth out, being a part and connected with you? What phase of your life are you in? So for me, it was interesting that when I look back on it, timing came when somebody came to me and said, they said my books wouldn't be good enough for me to publish. This was a pastor who's now a bishop. She was under a huge, her bishop was a huge bishop back then, name recognized globally. And she was told, nobody's ever going to publish your books. Nobody's ever going to publish your books. And the thing is, I felt her pain. But even before that, God allowed me to test out my ideas when I was working with another artist who's no longer with us, Vernon Williams. And that's where I met Big Mike Sax, yes, who was the saxophonist in his group. But I had the opportunity to be able to test out my skills, my ideas by publishing his stories, his works through Apostolic Worship Expression or AWE, right? And so I had an opportunity to test and say, okay, I could do this. Okay. And I did that. And then I got the opportunity to launch my own imprint. And that's when the pastor, when she came to me and she was sharing with me, because she was a researcher and she knew the word, she researched it, she made it easy for people to dissect it and get into it. So when it was told to her nobody would ever publish her story, her books, I said, hey, if you give me an opportunity, I would love to partner with you to publish your books. And that's what set HOV Publishing or Hope of Vision Publishing imprint in motion. That right there, because someone believed in me, gave me an opportunity to help their vision come to life through my vision, my purpose. Hold on, let me turn this off. And so with that, what's amazing is the launch of her book, and I can say the launch of my imprint, Hope of Vision Publishing. It was premiered at Turner Broadcast Network, TBN as we know it, when she was a guest on the platform. So that was a great day for both of us. And with it being my first imprint, for it to be done on that level, some things you just can't even imagine. And for me, it was just saying, if you will allow me, I would love to partner with you. Right. And so, but what was interesting, the person that said no one will ever publish your books, it's amazing that he would take her work under his name and publish her works. Be mindful. Be mindful who you share your ideas with. Not everybody has the right intentions. Okay. All right. That doesn't mean to not share your ideas. Just be mindful that whoever you do share your ideas with is a trusted source, or is you are trusted, but make sure your business is in order to protect yourself also for your intellectual property. Okay. All right. So just to share parts of, like I said, I'll be sharing parts of my story throughout, but I wanted to share that because we are sitting in our ideas. We are actually walking in our ideas. We're living in our ideas. We had an idea and now we've executed it, and now it's living and breathing in the earth. So HOV Publishing, that was the start of HOV Publishing, Hope of Vision Publishing. And so here we are 18 years later. Now, what's amazing, I never took the time to really market and promote it. It was all built through referrals. That's another indication and another blessing for me. What God can do when He gives you a thing, when He names a thing, uh, He'll take care of that thing, right? He sure enough will. So with that, in this message, as we pour into purpose, yes, you have to say it out loud. You have to say the things that you want. You have to give it breath. You have to breathe it, give it life in order for it to live. So when that thing is chasing you, is constantly on you, is nagging you, take a moment and start exploring what it is. It could be the very thing to change your entire life. Okay. So, and also, yes, start speaking your ideas. It'll help bring clarity to you. Okay. And talking invites collaborations, encouragement, and accountability. Like I said, you can't do this journey by yourself. If I kept it to myself, I wouldn't be here today because everyone, and I'm almost at 600 plus titles independently of just me talking, listening to someone's story, listening to the business that they're looking to birth or the business ideas that someone may have, and helping them to see that vision in a way they may not have thought about it. So, with that, your stories have helped me be in a position that I am in today. So, you see how when you collaborate with people, your vision becomes manifested in the earth along with the person you're connecting with, their vision, which is different than your vision. It's connecting in the earth, it's all coming alive. That's why we can't do this alone, right? So, okay, let me keep moving. Let me keep moving. And so, let feedback refine it, not kill it. I know sometimes it's hard to get feedback, especially constructive feedback. Like, do you really want to hear somebody come attack you and your vision and your ideas and your baby that you've been carrying? Nobody wants to hear that. Somehow open yourself up. Some feedback will only help you to refine that idea to make it stronger so it can live longer in the earth. Okay. So don't take everything and become so defensive with it. You know what? Hear people out, take it all in. It doesn't mean you have to apply everything someone says to you, but don't allow yourself to feel attacked. Okay, because if you are clear in what your assignment is, then you know what, some feedback that they may give you, all of it may not be good, but some of it could be helpful. So just keep an open mind. All right. And so let's look at this. Feedback is like fertilizer, not failure. So it's going to help that vision grow. I had this thought, this idea, but I may not have had all the pieces. And the pieces I didn't have at the time of this idea being birthed in me, I didn't have all the stories that are now connected to my journey, to my story, to the Hope of Vision story, the bigger story. I didn't have all those pieces. So it became fertilizer to help build my vision, Hope of Vision, through the stories and the visions of others. So stay open, okay? Use wise counsel to shape your vision, not shrink it. Now, I'm going to tell you, everybody is not always happy, and you probably know that and have experienced that on your own. Everybody's not always happy. So be mindful in the things, once again, in the ideas that you are given, who you share them with. Everybody is not meant to receive that at the onset. You have people that are secret dream killers. They don't want to see you succeed. They don't want to see you prosper. So that means there has to be some level of discernment for you to be able to tap into their energy. And with that, you'll know, like, oh, let me just shut up and be quiet right now because this is not the space. I know you want to be heard. I know you want your vision to be heard. You want your ideas to be heard. But I want you to be wise because not every opportunity is an opportunity for that to be heard. So, all right. And don't mistake critique for rejection. It's a step towards evolution. Keep that in mind. Just because someone may have a harsh critique of what, you're sharing, like I said, take the good and the bad and then kind of filter through. And if something in all of that lands and in your spirit, like, okay, I had to go through all that just to get to this jewel right here, then you know what? Just stay open. Think about long term. Don't think about the immediate. Don't think about what's happening right now in that emotional state because of the critique you're getting. Keep an open mind. Take it all in. Okay, you know what? I will consider your thoughts, your ideas. I'll consider what you said, and I'll take it under advisement. And I'll let you know. I'll get back to you. Something as simple as that. You don't have to show attitude. You don't have to show how mad you are because they don't see your child like you see your baby. No. Mm-mm. Keep it classy. Keep it good. Never let them see you sweat. Right? Okay. All right. So this is the final pour. Every great moment started as a whisper. Mm. The biggest breakthroughs often begin in the quiet. Yes. You don't want to plan out loud, because you set yourself up already for failure in most cases. So no, great ideas, they start one, it may drop in your spirit. That's quiet, that's within you. And as you start thinking it through and as you really start looking at it, it's just you. And then you may start inviting your team in or those that are close to you that you can sit and run things by. But you see how small that nucleus is? It's not on a major platform, it's not on a podcast that you're just throwing it out there. It starts with a whisper sometimes, and that whisper may start with you. All right. History was changed by people brave enough to share small sparks. Remember, it goes back to first speaking it out and then testing it. You have to test your ideas sometimes. And I find myself here. I know the things that I'm working on here, and there's a core few people that know those things as well. So what I find is that I'm so excited about it because I know how it may impact others and how it can really be a blessing and a help for others. So I start just dropping little hints on this podcast, on this platform. Just like when Authors Brew Friday was a thought and an idea, and then I had to put it out to start testing it. And then I started inviting people into the idea. Now it's taken on a life of its own, Authors Brew Friday, whereas authors have a platform to be able to share their story, what their why was, how their story got started, what inspired them. And I tell you, even the interview that's Authors Brew Friday that's coming up, it was one that we had to get some tissue, because some parts of people's stories, it's like, oh my gosh, wow, thank you so much for sharing it, because they really have gone through something. Some are great ideas that will help others be able to, spark and execute their own ideas. Some are how to, some are just pure inspiration. So I'm thankful that that was an idea that now others can share in, and we have so many more to come. Right. And then also with Mixed Blend Wednesdays, which is tomorrow. Mixed Blends Wednesdays is another idea. It's another thought and a concept that me and my team, we were thinking through, being able to give a space for those that are experts in their field, in their area, to come on and be able to share, give us knowledge, give us insight, give us tips, tools, and resources to be able to help us along in our journey. And so that's another space that was an idea that now it lives. It lives in the YouTube universe, the social media universe. It's out there. And so, and then with that, it's let's wrap up this section, pour into purpose. And so, but sometimes it's a small spark that we share that becomes something great, big ideas, big things that people can benefit, that they can tap into now. And so whisper your idea today. If you have an idea, I want you to whisper your idea today and shout its success tomorrow. And so that's why I think I got excited knowing that in 2 days it's going to be my 6 month, yes, baby steps, but my 6 month anniversary for Morning Brew with Germaine. And what's interesting for those that have been here in the beginning, it started out with one name and it evolved into what it is today, Morning Brew with Germaine. And so, yes, I'm excited and I'm going to be more mindful and more conscious of making sure I pay attention so we can celebrate the small wins. And not just for me, but even those that are connected with me, being able to come on in the community and let's celebrate your small wins that become major wins. Okay. Even when we've helped people. Leslie, I know you are someone that always, I'm so proud of you because the small wins that are now becoming major wins as you're pouring and paying it forward and helping people share their stories and they're becoming best-selling authors as well, and but through your Mosaic Inc, your business, you're being able to really celebrate the lives of those that are connected with you, women empowerment, and just new ideas that you are always sitting on and birthing out for those to be able to engage, but really shining that light, shining that light on those. And so, and there's so many others to be able to celebrate them. So, one, I celebrate you all, especially if you're connected with me. But I'm going to make it part of my business to celebrate the small wins that become big wins. Yes, I'm going to do that. All right. So, shout outs. Shout outs. All right, guys. So now this is a segment that we all can take part in. Yes, reflection prompts for listeners. I always like to leave you with two questions that you can think on throughout your day, throughout your month, throughout your year, however long you decide you want to, plant those seeds and fertilize those seeds, right? So, pretty much think about this. What idea have you been sitting on that needs to be spoken out loud? And that's your assignment for today. Even if you whisper it today, you know, before it becomes you speaking it out loud, and then before it turns into you now being able to shout it and share those successes. So, what idea have you been sitting on that needs to be spoken aloud? That's the first question. The second question is, who in your circle can help you breathe life into your idea? That's a huge one. But that is you really thinking about that question, really assessing those in your space, those that are in your circle. Who in that circle can help you birth out or help you breathe life into that idea? And if you find that you don't really have those people in your circle, then my advice is start expanding your circle, broadening your territory, you know? And the good thing is it's allowing you to see that, okay, I have these ideas, but I really need to start making contacts and connections with those that can help me birth those ideas out. All right. So I leave you with those two questions for you to be able to think about it. And so now what we do, we are coming into the final sip. The final sip, bringing this all to a close. Thank you all so much for chiming in, for just being a part of the HOV Pub community, as well as the Morning Brew community. And yes, there are some big things coming. Yes, that you will be able to benefit from, that will be a blessing for you. So, before I go, I always like to make sure I share. Now, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. It's never been easy for me to market and promote from that standpoint. But what I realize is sometimes it's not about me. It's not about me making it hard for me. Sometimes people want to know how can they get their blessings in as well. And and by me being silent, who is it helping? Nobody. Nobody. So, what I want to do now, I want to be able to take a few moments and let people know how they can share in this platform and be a part of this platform because, You may have some things on your heart that you want to share, and you may not know who you can connect with, who you can trust, to get those things out there. So this is a way that you can share for us to get it out there. And like I said, your voice matters. So if you're watching from afar, sometimes just chime in. Let me know you're in the community and you have something you want to say. It's open. Come share. All right. If you want to come and be a part of Morning Brew, please make sure you go to our website, and let me just put that on the screen. But it is Morning Brew at hold on, here it is. Okay. Just go to www.morningbrewwithgermaine.com. It's also tied in with the publishing site. So with that, you'll be able to navigate through there, because you may have a story also, but you don't know the how. You don't know the how do I get started? What's the first steps? But with that, um there's a lot of, and you can stay updated on what's coming, what's going on with Morning Brew with Germaine, and how it can affect you. So, but yes, make sure you stop by morningbrewwithgermaine.com for more information, insight, and one of the things that we are working on, I mentioned it early on, this month we are launching the Morning Brew collection. Our merchandising partners, we are, and I'm so excited because when they showed me all the new stuff that they were looking at incorporating, things that can be a help. The one thing is with establishing the merchandising line, it wasn't just creating these collections for the benefit of, oh yeah, now you got merchandise. Nope, it was more so, how can people really benefit from the merchandise? How will it help them? And so I wanted to be really strategic. I wanted to really take a moment to really be strategic in, as we are launching the new merchandising line through our partners. I wanted to I wanted to take everyone into consideration. I did not want it to just be another line, another cup, another t-shirt, I didn't want that. So it's going to be strategic how it's going to be rolled out as collections that can, one, it kept you in mind, the audience or the community, and things that are going to be beneficial and purposeful for you. Listen, guys, we take a moment and we pour into purpose. So it's not just, let me just throw something out there. This isn't about a quick money grab. Not at all. How can this help you along your journey? That's what the merchandise line is going to be about. That's what the collection names are going to be about. But one, I kept you in mind. So stay tuned for that. And like I said, we can all take part in it, right? And so also, another thing is, yes, thank you all so much for those that take time out of really pouring into Morning Brew and really letting me know that it resonates with you. But thank you for showing up with buying me a coffee. Buying me a coffee is a partnership that I have, whereas it gives you an opportunity to share and donate for $1, as little as $1, to be able to come together collectively as we begin to look and see where we can help those in need. So, Morning Brew, buy me a coffee. So, buymeacoffee.com at Morning Brew. I'm saying that all wrong. So, it's buymeacoffee.com / Morning Brew with Germaine. But let me do this. Let me take a moment and let me just play it, okay? Because I'm jacking it up. Welcome to Morning Brew with your girl Germaine on Buy Me a Coffee. Every cup you buy helps fuel inspiration, conversations, and creative content for our growing community. So grab a seat, stop by for a coffee break, sip with us, and thank you so much for pouring into purpose with me. Morning Brew, I'll see you in the next coffee break. Okay, so let me remove that. But yes, Morning Brew, it is definitely community driven. And there's some partner companies that we're working some things out right now that's going to be a part of the community also. But right now, it allows those out there that are able to be inspired, encouraged, and walk away with something to help them along their day. Um, it gives you an opportunity to say, you know what? I like what they're doing. I believe in their mission. And you know what? Yeah, I'll buy a cup of coffee for as little as $1 a day. So thank you all for those out there that have really put your hard-earned money in a place to buy a cup of coffee for the upbuilding of Morning Brew with Germaine as we continue to be community driven and really be able to pour back into you. So, with that, I am so appreciative and thank you again. And let me just put it up if you decide that you do want to. Actually, you can just scan the QR code if it is something that you do want to be able to share and be a support to this platform and to the community that we are pouring back into. So you can just scan the QR code. And with that being said, it is Morning Brew, buymeacoffee.com/ Morning Brew with Germaine. All right. And I'll put that up so you can see that as well. All right, so with that, let's now get into the final sip. Now, this is a space where I like to leave you with some encouragement and to send you off to enjoy your day. But before we do, I want to just share this that I got through my text. um, this is a message. Thank you, Leslie. What if today you stopped doubting your progress and took a moment to notice how far you've come? Confidence grows each time you recognize your quiet wins. Yes. And with that, you may want to go back and check out the Morning Brew that talks about, you'll build confidence along the way. So you don't have to have everything right now as you're starting. Just like she said, it will be built along the way in those small wins. Yes. So thank you for that, Leslie, before we close out with the final sip. Your silence can't serve the world. Your voice can. Okay? So your silence can't serve the world. Your voice can. Please check out the Morning Brew that talks about the power of your voice, the power of your story. Um, Speak the vision, share the spark, and watch it ignite. So, you know how we do on Morning Brew with Germaine. We sip slow, but I want you to speak loud. But I even want you to start now. Start now. So begin to speak those ideas into existence. And then, just like me, 6 months later, you look up, you talk about it, it's like, whoa, it's already been 6 months. So, yes, thank you for all your support. Thank you for showing up. Have a wonderful day, and we will be back tomorrow with Morning Brew with Germaine. Mixed Blend Wednesdays. Okay, so I look forward to having you back. And you know what? Take a moment and think about those small wins that you've accomplished that you didn't even realize. So be safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.